study to see what else was going into our sewer lines, like water leaking through access holes and whatnot, that added additional volume that didn't need to be there to be treated.
Mainly in the Lime Mountain area. We had actually put it on hold because we had the wastewater treatment plant being our primary project to just kept us focused on that. And so we're getting back into having conversations about what are some of the next steps. And, you know, I'm going to probably definitely loop Debbie back into this one because she's been in it right from the very beginning. But we just did an overview about, you know, the study they found, the antiquated pipelines are in the ground. Some of those sewer pipelines are 8-inch in diameter, and they're only taking sewage away from 3 homes. So why you need a... And they actually have pictures. They cambered a lot of stuff, and they shows that the debris is just it's backing up. It's staying in place. It's not being flushed to the sewer plant. So we're going to have problems, more and more problems down the road. They talked about we don't have enough necessary cleanouts to go in and clean out areas like that. The manhole covers are buried somewhere. We don't know where the manhole covers are. They had a hard time finding our manhole covers. So basically, the meeting today for me was a refresher to bring us back full circle to say, what do you want to do next steps? I told them basically, listen, we're not going to do anything until this wastewater treatment plant thing is behind us and sealed and signed off. I said, then we can probably look at next steps for that. But I asked the two people I talked to was Casey Dickinson and Tim Barber. I said, you really got to come back to the town and do a refresher a presentation about all the pictures you have, the diagrams you have, because I know it's been over a year and a lot of people have forgotten all that stuff.
Did they show like all the tanks that were put in up there? Did they mention anything about the tanks?
Well, there was some tanks that they said that needed to be upgraded. They mentioned one spot, I forget where the heck it was. I was just busy taking notes, but they did mention it. They said, you know, you're going to have more and more failures down the road, and we got to decide what we're going to do with it. So.
And that smoke, remember when we talked about the smoke test where they put smoke in the system? I think they only had 2 houses that had that smoke backed up into.
Yeah.
Because when they put in that system, you were supposed to put your gray water from your sump pump, you know, washer, that was supposed to go into the old system, and only the actual black water was supposed to be in the new system. And so when they ran smoke through the black water, if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, that smoke was going to back up into your house.
Into your house.
Because everyone was told that this goes here, that goes there, and so they had a couple where they could get it through.
There in '96 when that was redone, and there was only ever one line in that house, and that never changed. That came out of that across from where you were.
I know I was living in Ohio, and I had to hire somebody to come and do it in my house because I got letters from the town saying this has to be done, so I did it.
So anyway, just like I said, just an information share. We need to get refreshed again. They need to go over all the prints, all the pictures, all the diagrams, and I really would ask you to come to that because it's really interesting to see the amount of work they did to identify the weak points in the system in Lime Mountain, because it's sooner or later it's going to fail. So.
But my question about it, Kate. So where does the old lines go to the sewer plant also?
Yeah.
And then the new lines go to the sewer plant.
Well, no, the old lines go to all the septic tanks.
And the new lines go to the septic tank.
The new lines go to the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
The old ones go to the septic tank.
To the tanks that were put in place.
Yeah.
No, to old tanks.
Yep.
That had leach fields.
Right. We didn't put in any. Well, yeah,
There
we
was
did
no
put in
leach fields installed.
Yeah.
There were tanks installed.
Yeah, the old.
There was no leach
The
fields.
original system,
Yeah, before they even.
had leach fields, before any of the sewer plant ever took place. So if you still have a septic or a sump pump, it should be hooked up to that system, which would lead to a good-sized tank, at least in Phillips Court.
Yep.
Because the tank was right in my backyard.
Yeah, there was a big tank on your side, and there was a big tank on the other
There was a
side.
leach field off of that.
Yeah.
And brook it ran down Second Street.
Yeah, and,
Well, then, those were houses that just directly fed the sewer into the brook. I mean, that had nothing to do with the leach field, there's one in Bob Levine's yard, there's one behind my old house. Those are the two for that half of Phillips Court, and then there's one up on the other half.
yeah,
of-
behind Paul Royer's house, there was
Yeah,
the big
there's
one on
there's
that
one for
side.
that side of the court. And those still exist for sump pump water.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that the I study, the steps we take, the biggest thing it will save is not having to, we'll save on chemicals and wear and tear at the wastewater treatment plant because we won't have all of this gray water being treated like it's black water, using all those chemicals which have gone up fourfold in price in the last 2 years. Treating water that shouldn't have to be treated.
Is that
Yeah, and
typical?
two, listen,
Typical?
I don't mean to cut you off, Frank, but Debbie makes a good point, cause I go up probably once a week, talk to Pat about how things are going. And last week he was pulling his hair out, he says, I don't know, he says, my flow has just jumped up 80,000 gallons. He
And
says, I
that's,
don't know where the hell it's coming from,
it's all the melting
Yeah.
and it's leaking into his system.
right?
And so, he has to treat all of that, so
Is
it's,
that typical type of system though, or is that unique for that area? Like Dannemora, they've got one sewer from goes into it and out it goes, right? I mean, you could probably answer.
well,
Dan Moore's had the prison, so they've had an advantage for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the village itself, I mean, is
The
it?
village is
City of
hooked to- the
Plattsburgh,
village
I mean,
hooked to
is
its
that
own
a typical thing, you know?
But yeah, you have your sewer that all goes to the plant, but all your stormwater all dumps off over by Augie's and
Right.
then over and back
But in your
again.
general household though, it's one sewer line.
Yes.
typically,
Yeah, and that's, I would say that would be typical of most houses,
Yeah.
not separating it in the
Most all
household.
them houses in the village have drain in the basement, which goes to, gray water.
Gray water drains in the basement.
But in back of, by Justin Kuchar's, the old village office, that's the other outflow, which actually surfaces by, Stewart's over the bay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it goes underneath the railroad tracks, and then that goes to Saranac. And the other one's by Augie's.
That's all stormwater type
Yep, that's
stuff.
all stormwater.
Yeah, and if you think about where we're at with our new upgrade, I mean, that was about a $3.5 million upgrade.
5 point.
$5 million upgrade. If we don't take care of the issues that are now happening with this I study,
Yeah,
it's gonna put more wear and tear on our new system.
oh, yeah, yeah.
That's the other thing to look at, where we don't need that wear and tear. Okay, another good conversation. So I guess as things roll downhill, it's funny that I had the meeting with WCAX TV, and then right the next day, Adirondack Explorer magazine called me on the phone and wanted my opinion about battery storage units. And I basically told them the same thing I told WCAX. It's a long ways off for how we're doing it. We're in our infancy stages. We're gathering information. We're educating ourselves. We're educating the board. Whenever something new comes up, we're educating the public. And I said, that's where we're at. And she said, well, how do you think about it? I said, it's something new. I said, it's a lithium-ion technology. And she kind of poked me a little bit too hard on one item. I said, listen, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told WCX TV. I said, if we're so worried about lithium-ion technology, let's look at the rest of the technology that surrounds lithium-ion. Our cars, our buses. I said, go to New York City. I said, I worked there at Nova Bus for 5 years. I think New York City has over 200 passenger buses. I said, what if those start a fire in the middle of Fifth Avenue? Who the hell knows, right? And so she kind of quieted down after that, and he said, well, I appreciate your time. I'll make a little thing. I said, well, just make sure whatever I say is true to what I said, not fabricated to what I said. So that's it for that.
I'll read it, I'll let you know.
Okay, let me know. Board members, you have in front of you, I sent you an earlier email regarding the new resolution put forth by the county for the purchase of fuels, but just for the people in here tonight, we have a 2-year agreement that's called Resolution 115, and basically we're really surprised like this. MX had pretty much all of our fuel for this area. Well, we have a new player in town that has come in, and they basically almost kicked MX out of everything. I'm going to screw up the pronunciation, but I think it's called Mirabito Holdings. They bought the gas station, the Stewart's gas station in Rouse's Point. And they also bought the gas station, Jolly Gas Station. It's right on Route 3, just before the overpass, just right after Champlain Valley Veterinary. They have that gas station now too. But they really outbid MX, and so right now, Marabito has all our diesel, all our heating oil, and all our kerosene, and the only thing that MX has is unleaded gasoline. And some of the price points that you see, like for example, I'll give you MX Petroleum on gasoline. They're right around a bid price of anywhere from 183 or 187 to 232 a gallon. Is we're talking a state contract now. We're talking. I mean, there's a lot of players in this thing, right? Heating oil, just to give you an idea what heating oil, what Marabito put it at, they're right around $2.26. I just got delivered heating oil Monday, $5.29. So
How come they couldn't bid gasoline?
they probably did. They probably couldn't
They couldn't beat them.
beat them.
What's his,
Says
no bid,
No bid.
no bid.
Oh, I don't know why.
And this is for the county or just the town?
County.
County.
Yeah. So the county negotiates, and then whatever negotiated down is it basically staircases back to us. So I just thought I'd share that with y'all that we have a new player in town. Okay.
Gasoline.
We do have a highway town opening that we're going to post. I'll just leave it at that. We have an opening. We do have we had a retirement too. What's his Brock Gerbil retired. His last day was the 31st of March. We looked at other people to do that. We finally found actually Larry Carroll, who actually works right next to Brock Gerbil down at the treatment plant. And he called me, told him basically what we did for Brock, and signed right on. He's licensed, got a certification, so it was an easy flip the switch transition. So that's it.
Larry Carroll.
He works at the sewer plant.
Yeah.
And doing it for the same amount of money, which is,
So he might be a helpful hand when we have more work to do in District 2 then, as far as shutting water down and stuff, because he knows we're all
I'm sure he does.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing in,
So,
nothing in the village.
Larry Carroll.
That's on his own.
Anybody want to bring up this, a new business? Anybody? All good there? Okay, let's go into committee reports. I have one more, and it's not on the agenda, but it is in your packet, board members. You do have in front of you Shane's monthly report, what he has been busy with. For instance, for people out there in the chairs, junk storage notices, he put out 13 of them for people that can't clean up the yard, so he's put out 13 of those. Unsafe buildings, he put 1 out. Property maintenance code, he's put 8 out. Stop work orders, he put 2 out. Inspection after a fire, he's done 1 of those, and permit renewals, he did 1 of those. But this is a little bit old data. I know I just talked to him yesterday, and he says you're going to get probably some more phone calls. He says I just put out 33 new letters, basically on stop work and also clean up your property. So just that you know he's on it. Okay.
I'm sure there's plenty of them.
Huh?
The stones leaving, you can see a lot.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
And if you haven't noticed, on 374, the house that burnt, we are on, Shane was on that person that owned that house, and he came to me. I said, listen, I'll help you. If we have to, we'll get Matt involved, we'll get an attorney involved. And finally, once he mentioned, listen, the town's gonna hire an attorney to have you clean that house up, because it's actually creating a nuisance for residents on both sides. And you can see now that there's dumpsters there, and they're cleaning it up, so we got that going
We
well.
haven't done anything in a week and a half, they filled both dumpsters and that's it, now it all sits there again.
Yeah. All right, that's it for me.
Can't believe there's not rats there.
Oh,
Basement's full.
well, you are aware,
See the shit in the outside, there's gotta be rats somewhere.
you are aware there was a hazard box there with 5 dead dogs in it.
Oh, yeah, I stopped in
5
there and
dead
took a
dogs
look.
from that
That's
fire.
scary inside.
And that was just sitting there,
That's
so I
scary.
have to call the Department of Health on that. So,
How could they even walk in there, I don't know.
yeah. So Jim, what do you got, any updates?
No.
Jason, you got any updates?
I did talk to Kelly, and we're gonna go Now it's starting to get nicer and try
Oh,
to,
you Tamarack,
yeah.
nice.
I caught him at a meeting and told him that we were supposed to do it last year, but some stuff happened, and so we're gonna get together and, now it's nice out. I gotta get him and get up there. I think there's a couple roads we're gonna look at.
Good deal.
Other than that, I think our EMS meeting's supposed to be this month sometime, maybe? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
14?
I don't remember.
14 rings the bell with me right now.
I got it.
But I do know last month there was a lot more EMS
Actually-
calls in Lime Mountain.
Actually, I've got it on the calendar for the 8th.
8?
Yeah,
Well, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Next one.
Next Wednesday.
But there was a lot more EMS calls in Lime Mountain last month than there was in Danmore. Just saying. That was brought to my
It
attention.
doesn't matter, they're just not fair, they don't treat the system fair. I don't
Yeah,
care where the calls are.
Yep.
Yep, agree. But
Yeah.
I know that, they have gone up there other nights and just the 2, just because the employees don't wanna be down. It might change now that weather's nice and they go back to the village office, but there's some employees don't like working at the firehouse in Danmore, so they end up coming up my mountain, so
Okay.
good for us, but still ain't right, I agree.
Still a shortage of EMS work?
Everywhere.
Yeah, you know, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years, and until the county really gets involved, or even the state level gets involved and said, listen, we gotta have one centralized system, and we can stop this pilfering of talent from township to township to township to township. That's what it is. They'll throw a quarter at Jason, and Jason will go to Champlain. They'll throw 30 cents at me, and I'll go to Dannemora. It's ridiculous how it's set up right now.
The saddest part is you'll never see Anacorn County.
So, okay, Mike, you got anything?
Only, so has there been another town supervisor county-wide meeting?
No. No.
I think that point of the whole EMS needs to be addressed through there, especially if our new county administrator is attending those meetings.
Yeah.
Because the problem is not solvable without, like you say, one person in charge, or one unit in charge. Otherwise, it's not solvable.
No.
Yeah,
Totally
you're
agree.
gonna have one unit that hires 30 EMS, and you're assigned here, you're assigned there, you're assigned here, and that's why you.
And the money's all the same.
The money's all.
Yeah, the money's identical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the hospital wants to run their own, then, I don't know that you can put them under the county, but if they wanna have 3 ambulances there, then that's, city fire has 2 ambulances, and they're busy all the time. But
Mm-hmm. Okay. You got anything, Debbie? Good, why, you on vacation or something?
I talked it up during the meeting.
Mark, you wanna bring up anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay, one thing I'll have to say, and I'm gonna apologize to y'all tonight, is that, Debbie kind of brought to my attention that we do need to go into executive session on an issue, so I apologize for not having it on the agenda, but I think it's important that we do discuss it as a board, so we're gonna move to go into executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Is there any more of the comprehensive meetings
You guys
going
know.
on, or is that kind of stalled now?
So now that we have Jackie in place, I'm gonna tell her that we approved her as getting up the grant. So I think with the grant needs to start, but also with the grant, we understand what's involved with the comprehensive meeting, so we gotta get that back running again, Frank.
so she brings a review, Frank. Hey, you skiing still?
Trying.
So there'll be more to come on that.
Maybe next week.
Right.
Because we should get at least 2 or 3 more people on that committee.
Yeah, just keep me involved if
Okay.
you can.
Yep, for sure. Have a good night. Mama, thanks for coming.
Did that,
We're gonna-
that go to the office or the bathroom?
Yeah, sure do it.
See, you got all the, just put them in your office.
Yeah, I'll take them.
You stop this, Joey? I don't know how to do it, but.
There should be a button here on the top.
of that. So this one guy, this one guy, Wilbur, he's got
Tar
4
buds
kids.
right
I
here.
know he's not 30 years old.
Oh, you want to see Wilbur?
You know Wilbur?
Yeah.
So, he's got 4 kids, right? They aren't?
Debbie,
Probably 2 to
shut it down.
8. And his wife's out here like this. I doubt he's